Well, speaking about that game, joining us now from Polokwane in South Africa is, well, I say football journalist extraordinaire, Lethabo Nyago. She joins us from South Africa. Thank you, Lethabo. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. And I do not think South Africa can take this game any more seriously than they already have. Arriving in Nigeria before the Nigerians, wow, you guys are taking this game seriously.
Good evening, and good evening to your viewers, and thank you for having me. A nice welcome. You're making me sound like a very important person, but yes, this match is of high importance to South Africa as much as it is as important to Nigeria. I would assume that having missed out on the last, Olympic Games, Banyana Banyana, we want to go, South Africa wants to go back there. And also you look at how we've been doing on the international stage, the history that we made last year, the World Cup, getting into the second round. That's a feat that no South African team has ever achieved at a World Cup, men or women. So you want to, as soon as, the tournaments are following each other, to maintain that momentum. So it is a serious match.
Oh, yeah? You have
it is a serious match. I've always said that the Banyana Banyana are the bane of the Super Falcons, and I'm hoping that they will not deprive the Falcons a ticket again to the Olympics. It's good to know that Coach Desiree Ellis has, a boost in camp, the return of Bambanani, Sibulile, and also Rifolio Jane. But she's without Andile Dlamini. Do you think this should bring a cause for worry?
No, I don't think so. If you look at the South African team and of recent, Kaylin Swart has been, more picked in terms of starting. They've both had sort of equal opportunity, but if not so equal opportunity. Remember, there was even an uproar in South Africa during the World Cup when Andile was not playing, and everybody was like, why isn't Andile playing? But this time we also know the coaches say that it's because of medical reasons. But you look at Kaylin Swart, how she's been playing, as number one, Banyana Banyana number one. So I don't think that should be a thing to worry about. Rigel was also, one of the goalkeepers was also at the WAFCON as well. So in case anything happens, and hopefully nothing bad happens to either of them, that shouldn't be so much of a big concern. I think for South Africa, this is South Africa versus Nigeria. It's not an Andile Dlamini or Elitabo Kganya versus the Super Falcons.
Is there an undertone why Desiree Ellis should not field Andile Dlamini? Yes, I noticed that at the World Cup, she was not fielded at all for the Banyana Banyana at the posts. So looking at this game against Nigeria, I know that Kaylin Swart was the girl at the post when Nigeria faced up with South Africa at the Aisha Buhari Cup. So is that an undertone not fielding Andile? Is there a problem why Andile?
No,
is
not
that the reason
all.
why
there
she's not here?
Yeah, there is no undertone at all. I'm saying right now she's not in camp because of medical reasons, but even when she wasn't playing, whether at the World Cup and even in some of the qualifying matches, it would be Andile, it would be Kaylin, if you checked that properly, but there is no undertone. It's a competition issue in the South African team. Also, you look even how they were doing domestically. Before the World Cup, Kaylin had more game time in the league than Andile had. So there is no undertones on that one.
Okay. You have a question?
My questions are very simple. There are actually two questions. And the first one is, I remember some years ago, actually I covered the African Women Nations Cup in Namibia in 2014. Yeah, 2014. And we defeated the Banyana Banyana of South Africa, en route winning that tournament. And, along the line, the Banyana evolved, they grew, they were so consistent. What did SAFA do, to ensure that South Africa got at the same level with Nigeria? Then, secondly, my second question is, are we not hard done that the two best teams on the continent...
Allegedly,
because they did well at the World Cup, and Banyana Banyana are the defending champions of the African Women Nations Cup. Do you feel bad that these two teams, should have been separated?
Somebody has to go.
Somebody has to go. How do you feel about it?
With your second question, I feel the same way as you do feel. I feel they should have not been drawn in the same group, because like you're saying, two of the best teams, number one ranked Super Falcons, South Africa is second. they are the current reigning national team in terms of women care-wise. You have the best player as well. They're the best goalkeeper. South Africa has the best coach, in terms, I'm just referring to the CAF Awards, and then you look at the rankings as well. These are the two teams that I would wish that both of them could get a chance to fight. If the draw was not the way it was, you have South Africa on the other end and you have Nigeria on the other end, because for me, I feel this is a good representation of African women's football in these two teams. I do feel hard done that only one of them can go. It really does not sit very well with me, but what can we do? It is what it is. We're here. There's 120 minutes for one of them to get that ticket to Paris. But coming to your first question, what did they do? I think that the team had been together for a very long time, and it just matured in terms of, if you look, let's take it back to before Desiree Ellis was the head coach, when she was acting as well, around about 2016, when we played Nigeria in the WAFCON semi-finals in Cameroon. And then you look at the next edition, we were able to beat Nigeria once. That was in Ghana. We were able to beat Nigeria once, and then we lost in that final, though that booked us our very first World Cup appearance in 2019. Then you look at Aisha Buhari Cup, you look at the WAFCON. But if you look at all of those players, most of the players that were part of that 2016 team are still part of this team. So it's been a lot of maturity. You could say that some of them were still young and then they were growing with that. And then even now, when you look at what Desiree Ellis has been able to do, and especially if you look at last year, the injuries to the key players like Mfilo Jane and Banyana Banyana made opportunities for young blood to come into the squad. You look at Fikile Magamas, you look at Karabo Kamini, they're in the back line, and now they are toe-to-toe with the regulars, and then even look up front, that it looks like the technical team or even the association, they're together in terms of saying, you can't wait to have a problem. Like, prevention is better than cure. So when you have a chance in terms of knowing the longevity of the team, you look at someone like Ntabiseng Machia. She's young. She's one of our strikers. She's young. She got to play in the WAFCON when Thembi Kgatlana got injured. So if we had not had that kind of a succession plan already, there might have been problems, But also, she's part of the squad. She's part of the squad together with the contingent from Mexico. Our front line is playing in Mexico. Jermaine, Thembi, a breadwinner, Hilda Makaya. So I think the succession plan that they had together, I think that's something that is working, because every now and then you see new blood. Asanda Hadebes, you see new blood being brought in, but they're not being brought in, and then it's a situation of sink or swim when there's already a problem. So before there is a problem, they've been already working on that to prevent it.
Okay, Letawa, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I honestly believe that being African champions has put a different spin, a different swag in the steps of the Banyana Banyana. They play like champions, they act like champions, and I think it's actually made them more dangerous. But finally, before we go, speaking as a journalist now, not as a Banyana Banyana Uber supporter that you are, who do you think will win this one over two legs?
No, but come on, you can't say I can't speak as a South African. Obviously, I'm biased towards South Africa. No, let's be honest. You can't sit there and tell me you don't want to go to Paris for this.
Okay, I'm not saying that. So who do you think will win?
Yeah, so these are national team matters. So definitely, I am biased towards South Africa, patriotic to the hilt, and with how Banyana Banyana have been playing, and with how the team has progressed, I want to give them a shot. Obviously, it's not going to be an easy match. It's not going to be a walk in the park. These are the Super Falcons, the most decorated national team, women's national team on the African continent. The most successful. You guys have 9 titles. Despite that we unseated you at the last WAFCON, you still are the Super Falcons. But with how Banyana Banyana have been playing, I'm gonna be patriotic, but it's not just out of patriotism. It's also based on having seen how we've been playing, I mean, you look at, even at the beginning of the year, our league had not started when we were already playing in friendlies, already playing in qualifiers, actually, playing in the qualifiers earlier in the year. Our league had not started. Looking at our league, knowing the girls, you know, and how hard they work, and the team itself, because also there's something about Banyana Banyana, the belief in that team, it's something that you can't even take away from them. But it's not just the belief, it's what they put out on the pitch. So I'm going to give South Africa a shot to go through, because also I'd like to go with them to Paris.
Okay, you know what? I think I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to agree with you, and hopefully we can go to that Olympic Games together, you and I. Thank you very much, Letabo Nyago, joining us from Polokwane in South Africa. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, and hopefully when the South Africa do qualify or don't qualify, we'll definitely have you again in the studio to speak about that. But thank you so much, Letabo. Thank you very much.
We have 120 minutes to settle this.
I totally agree.
Pretoria next Tuesday.
Okay.
Then we can decide who is now going to be saying, flight tickets, how much is it from OR Tambo, or how much is it from...
Look, I will come to OR Tambo and we can fly together. No problem. I have no problem with that. Thank you.
But either way, whoever's going there will be a good representation of African women's football. I believe that this fixture is going to give us one of the best that Africa has to offer.
Okay. Thank you very much, Letabo. Have a wonderful evening. We'll definitely be speaking to you in due course. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Good evening.